Did that get your attention? Well, good, it was supposed to. Basically, it's what a young lady I know would call a cheap ploy. A little bit of sensationalism, something to grab your attention. And there's psychology involved in it also. Generally, I keep my videos to technical and historic information on firearms and reloading, but I kind of stay away from political connotations. But things have kind of gotten out of control to the point where I kind of decided, I'm going to at least speak my mind about it and give my viewpoint on all this recent things with the massacre in Connecticut, how it affects the gun laws, and just people's reaction both for and against guns in both directions, which is getting really ridiculous. Everybody's acting strange, whether you believe in gun control or believe there should be no more gun control. Okay? And what it all boils down to is, put it simply, to start this off, I don't believe any gun control laws or changing anything or banning or restricting or outlawing military-style assault rifles, high-capacity magazines, restricting the amount of ammunition a person can keep. This will not solve anything, okay? These massacres and attacks are horrible incidents. They're getting a little bit more frequent, it is scary, the frequency that they're happening nowadays. But they're kind of isolated incidents. And the last two, the one where the guy shot all the kids and the fellow that shot the people in the mall a week earlier, 3 weeks ago. Both of these individuals stole the weapons they used. Okay? So changing gun law restrictions or background checks, wouldn't have done anything in these situations. But see, now you get people with just a basic mentality, well, if these guns were not allowed or weren't allowed to be there, this wouldn't happen. Well, okay, great. So say they come back again. I don't know if a lot of you are old enough to remember the last assault rifle ban. I know a lot of people on YouTube are younger people interested in this hobby and sport that I don't know if you're old enough to remember back in the late 80s, it was 86, 87, there was another massacre involving school children. It was called the Stockton Massacre. This involved an individual who had a history of mental illness, going out with a Chinese semi-automatic AK-47 and shooting a whole bunch of children in the school playground. This created an outcry. They stopped the importation of a lot of guns from China, especially the AK-47. At the time back then, it was a pretty rare and unusual gun. And it was a $350 gun at the time. And the Chinese were importing ammunition and everything. You can get a case, a 7.62 by 39, 1,000 and almost 100 rounds came in the case for like $85. It was corrosive copper cased ammo, but it was good ammo, actually, very accurate. I still have a few rounds left. And I should have bought, at the time I should have bought 10 cases, but I bought one, and it took me years to use it up, but those days are gone. It became a political thing, and Colt stopped manufacturing semi-automatic ARs. There were several different semi-automatic versions of assault rifles imported from Germany, the Heckler & Koch line. That weird French bullpup, they call it the Bugle. Those are quite rare. The Steyr AUG was a popular gun back then, real neat gun. They're all quite expensive too. Steyr EUGs used to go for close to $1,000, which, 30 years ago, that was a lot of money. It was a big ticket item. It's kind of like the new FN rifles that go for about $2,500 now. Puts them in the same category. You don't see people buying them in the gun shop every day. AR's gotten down recently to $600. And the reason this person did it, again, I believe this person committed this act, was mentally ill. Okay, very, very mentally ill to kill them small children. If this could have been stopped, the school was secure and locked. He shot his way through the locked windows, doors, whatever, I don't know the details, but somehow he violently forced his way into the building too. So this is kind of unusual in another extent of it. So now with the outcry, the president is having the vice president go on to do it. And just this morning he said, we're going to ban military assault rifles and high-capacity pistol magazines. Well, it didn't work in the past. They repealed the law when they first put it in there. It won't work again. And kind of the stupidity of it all is there are so many millions of these weapons out there. I don't believe this ban is going to have them confiscated and destroyed. It'd be impossible. It won't happen. It's not going to work. It's like outlawing two-door cars. There's millions of them on the road. Okay? How are you going to do that? You're not. You can stop the future sale of them. But there's so many out there now that, and then again, here's the hype, panic, and this is where people get stupid. You got people reacting irrationally over the massacre. I mean, it is a horrifying thing, and some people just, it blows their minds. And, I can't hold that against them. They believe that the fact that people in this country can buy large quantities of ammunition and assault rifles is the reason for this. It's not. And their solution, their demand is, we don't believe people should have this, so it should be outlawed. On the other hand, you have another group of people that say Second Amendment rights, we should have this, and we don't believe it should be outlawed. Second Amendment, whatever, my rights as a citizen. Now, here's where the exploitation and stuff comes in. Politicians will try to enforce some sort of law to keep their jobs, okay, to quiet these people down. Gun dealers and that, I've already seen prices are escalating, skyrocketing. There's people that are going to make a ton of money on this, okay? And where you have the other unreasonable people is all of a sudden now somebody who, I have to have an AR-15 for outlaw. And a lot of people buy this stuff, not because they're interested in an AR-15 or assault rifle platform, not because they're interested in shooting it or using it. Some people get it as home defense, peace of mind. But a lot of people get it speculating that the value will go up. Again, there's an opportunist/capitalistic drive here behind this. It's, I'm going to get mine for the price skyrockets, for they're outlawed, and so they're, you can't have them anymore. And this is where, it's kind of bad for anyone interested in firearms. I'm not a big fan of the AR-15 platform. I've used them. I have some. I can build them. I can do gunsmithing work on them. I understand them inside and out. For a short-range weapon, a small caliber, I personally would prefer the AK-74 over the M16. And personally, as far as military guns go, the M14 or the M1A1 style is, I'd like more. But now you're going to see prices go up. I'm going to a gun show tomorrow. I'm going to check this all out. And I know a lot of people have discussions and that on there on YouTube. I'm not free in the evenings. I spend time with my family other than, have time to get into some discussions and chats. It's 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. I'm going to try to, though, but the thing is, it's a sad thing. People are injured and killed, and everybody they all want to put the blame somewhere. And the blame, too, if you look at it in a roundabout way, it's the way everybody's thinking about this. It's all psychological, okay? Why do you use a pump shotgun? Why do you use an assault rifle? Okay, the assault rifles are designed with a psychological point to it, okay? Handing somebody that's, not very efficiently trained troops a bolt-action rifle compared to like that AK-74 with a 30-round magazine, you got a lot of shots in there, you don't have to be accurate, you have room for error, and you got confidence. It gives people a psychological idea of confidence, of power, of destruction. And that's kind of what the whole thing is behind all this. It gives the perpetrator that psychological advantage, and it also gives the psychological fear factor to the victims or innocent bystanders. This guy's got an assault rifle. They're scared. They're scared and they should be. When somebody's waving that thing around, yeah, it's time to get nervous. I don't care who you are. A lot of it is psychological. Both in people who are against the guns and people who want the guns. Psychological, and then there's the greed factor. We are a capitalist country. This is going to be a 3-ring circus. And all of this comes at a time when this country is in the worst financial condition it's been in since the Great Depression. And all of this nonsense is like a breath of fresh air, I guess, to the politicians, because it's drawing the attention off of the major serious problems of this country, which are going to affect many more millions of people financially, okay, than, not to belittle it, this tragic event in one part of the country by a lone maniac who ended up killing himself. Okay, really, there's nothing no one could have done other than change the mental health system in the way we screen and look at mental health in this country. That is truly what is needed to be done in this last situation. And I think probably the mall shooting and the guy in the movie theater, all of these people, I believe, fell through the cracks the way our mental health system is. And now with all this confusion and mayhem, people should be more focused on getting the politicians to work on our financial and tax problems before our economy totally goes bankrupt. If that happens and the U.S. dollar is worthless and our economy collapses, there's going to be anarchy and mayhem that will make this school shooting look like nothing. I mean, people will just totally go berserk. It's not a good thing, okay, any way around, the way you look at it. And, that's kind of my opinion on it. We need to look more at mental health and the way our society is. People have to stop acting foolish. People themselves, both pro and against guns, go to extremes. The people against guns are unrealistic. I mean, you can ban anything you want. There's millions of these guns out there now. They ain't going to go confiscate them, so they really don't solve the problem. Just complicate shit. And it drives... these people exploit this and make a profit out of it, is basically what it is. The disadvantage, too, for the gun owners, it's crazy to value your guns and that. And then you got people who are pro-gun that go crazy, foam at the mouth, pay insane prices, buy it up now so I got it, and they're really not into the sports and that. Some people, they're more into, I have it, I want it, and they'll never use it. Why buy something you'll never use? I don't know, maybe it's peace of mind, defend your home in case, society does take a turn for worse, which that possibly could happen. So, it's a real complex situation, and nobody wins, no matter which way, whether you're pro-gun or against guns. And I just hope this all sorts itself out, and that the president really doesn't do anything. He should worry more about the economy than passing any more gun laws. That's basically my bottom line on it. And this country should do something with people who ain't right in the head either. Confine them, or, and that's another thing. Nobody wants to pay to institutionalize mentally ill people because it's expensive. Okay, that's another way of looking at it, and that's why we have these problems. It's much more easier for a doctor to sedate the hell out of somebody with some sort of medication than it is to give people the proper care they need when they are ill psychologically. Okay, because it costs money, okay, for the state systems and that to do that. That's another serious problem we need to look at. Well, that's kind of my take on it. I mean, I ramble and go back and forth because it is a complex issue and that, but it's a thing. I feel sorry for them people that were murdered and poor children. But, like I said, you have to think sensible and do something that really matters. Not something that isn't going to make a difference one way or the other.